This is expected to create opportunities for Indian pharma and biotech firms in the global supply chains. We have Kunal Dhamesha, Pharma and Healthcare Research Analyst at Macquarie Capital, and Neeraj Sharma, CEO and MD at OneSource Specialty Pharma. Gentlemen, great to have both of you here. Thank you very much for joining us. Let me, Neeraj, start with you. Prashant, this side. It's good to be speaking to you after a while, Neeraj, once again. And I want to talk about your specific business as well. But then let's just get this Biosecure Act out of the way. One line of, and I'll start with perhaps the pushback that I've heard from some, that the Biosecure Act was part of this National Defense Authorization Act, which is the NDAA, even last year. And the last minute, it was kind of sort of knocked out from that act. The skeptical view is don't celebrate yet. So just wanted your thoughts, how you think about this entire issue.
Yeah, thank you, Prashant. Thank you for having me here. See, while I hear your skepticism on the act itself, but I think we should look much beyond the act, right? It's not what the act says what is important. It is the strategic direction towards supply chain diversification. I think that is what we need to look for. And I think what has happened here is that what this act, whether the first version or the version now, what they have done is basically change the conversation in the American pharma boardrooms. Where the boards have given a very clear direction to the companies to really look at diversifying their supply chains and look at alternatives and to reduce concentration, and dependence on one country. And I think that particular point is really irreversible, whether this act, whatever shape or form it takes or doesn't.
Do you think, the other bit is that this is a much more diluted version as compared to what was proposed last year. Do you agree with that, Neeraj?
I think, Shant, while I understand that the tone may be softer, but I think the central essence remains as it is. And I think as a central essence is very clear, which is towards diversification, towards reducing dependence, towards finding alternatives to having too much concentration in one country. I think that essence remains absolutely intact. There has been no change in that direction.
Got that. Now, can you run us through, Neeraj, if this sort of were to become law, become an act, both House and Senate pass it, what are the implications? Will American companies have to stop working with sourcing from China? Will they have to divert sourcing to other countries like India? Is that a big shift? How large? Any way to think about the numbers here?
Sure. See, it's very clearly there is a significant upside for Indian CDMOs, including like us in OneSource. Any CDMOs and companies with adequate infrastructure, with the right regulatory strength and the agility to enter into long-term partnerships with global pharma will be beneficiaries, right? Because we have been building capabilities and while the time, how much time it takes for the companies to really find alternatives, these are long gestation businesses. It will take some time, but I can tell you, we at OneSource, we have been seeing a significant uptick in RFPs and queries over the last many quarters, and I hear the same from many of our other competitors in this space. So definitely there is an upswing. Definitely there are queries and RFPs coming in. How they will convert into numbers over the next few years remain to be seen. But it's a definite upside is what I tell you, because there are very few alternatives to China here. Of course, South Korea was much earlier in this field, but after that is India, and I think from the base where we are in, we have a very even a small shift towards India will actually end up as a significant driver of growth for Indian CDMOs.
Mr. Sharma, just stay on. We also have Kunal Dhamesha, Pharma and Healthcare Research Analyst at Macquarie Capital, now joining in. Kunal, thank you very much for joining in. Mr. Sharma was just saying that they and the industry, as what he's learned, has seen a significant uptick in the request for proposals, queries. And he's very bullish. But you believe that what has passed, by the Senate is a very watered down version, and therefore the benefit may not be to the extent as what perhaps the street was hoping for. I mean, give us your first thoughts.
Sure. So I would not say, it's a watered down version. I think for Senate and House to kind of basically pass the Biosecure Act, they have made some amendments so that, it doesn't face a lot of opposition. So right now they have removed the names of the companies which are kind of classified as a biotechnology companies of concern, with which the businesses cannot be done. And the current version basically links, the biotechnology companies of concern to another list that is published by the US government, which is called 1260H list, wherein US government lists all the Chinese companies which either are Chinese military companies or they have ties with the Chinese military. And so the act will basically put all these companies in that list as a biotechnology companies of concern, rather than actually naming the companies in the act itself. Right now, I believe it's much more forward-looking because the list of the 1260H list gets updated every year. And given that it is linked to this list, I believe that there is a much more uncertainty for the innovator companies, going forward, because the list can get updated every year. And hence, while earlier only 5 companies were mentioned, now it could be any one of the Chinese CDMO list. So I believe that right now, while it looks like the scope has been diluted, but the scope, in my view, has been broadened, and it can impact any of the Chinese CDMO companies, which makes it very uncertain for the innovator companies to kind of, go ahead and give projects to any of the Chinese CDMO companies. So while diluted, but broadened is the way I would put it.
Kunal, this still has to go through the House and gets the President's signature. So in that sense, it's still a wait and watch. And as far as we understand, I think last time it got blocked after the Senate?
It was not blocked. It was supposed to be tabled on the Senate for the votes with the National Defense Authorization Act of 2025. But it was not included in the NDA package of 2025. And hence, it didn't pass as an act, because generally the older Congress, when they know that the administration is going to change, they generally don't work on this kind of key piece of legislation, because the next US administration would come in and they would have everything kind of given to them. So that's why it was not tabled on. Now, in terms of timeline, when I see, generally the NDA needs to be passed by House before the end of the year, or before the House goes on the year-end break. So we believe that we'll see a lot more news flow coming in from the House of Representatives side on this by the end of this year.
We're running out of time, so I just want to get in one question to both of you, so if we could keep it short. Kunal, one stock, if you had to bet on to play the CDMO opportunity, basis this Biosecure Act, which one would it be?
For me, it would be Divi's Labs. I think it's kind of very well positioned.
Okay.
Can't ask Neeraj for the stock. His stock is going to be OneSource.
But Mr. Sharma, how soon can we get a deal signed? You said you've seen a lot of, requests for proposals and queries. And what could perhaps come in the way?
See, I think it's only a matter of time, because these are long gestation businesses. I think it's the request for proposals will convert. How many? It's difficult to say at this time. I think one thing which companies will have to really focus on is also to build on the IP infrastructure, because what we as in the industry have to give comfort to global pharma is that their data and intellectual property is going to be safe in India. And I think that's the comfort we'll give. And once we do that, and with all our track record, I think we have got a lot going for us.
Got that. Neeraj, if I can ask you for your, on the semaglutide GLP-1 sort of opportunity, you still maintain that that these partnerships on GLP-1 will yield about $400 million in revenues by FY28, which you've stated earlier.
So we have said we'll reiterate our guidance, but just so that you know, we are right now in silent period as far as OneSource numbers are concerned. So I would really not go beyond that. We will have this conversation after our results are out early next month.
No problem. But it's all on track in that sense, right? Because at the margin,
sure.
I'm not talking about not talking about OneSource per se, but at the margin there was some not concern, but maybe there is a lot of fill finish capacity which is coming up. So maybe by the time a lot of these patents a lot of these drugs go off patent and then generics start to make it, and many of the top generic companies are your clients, there will be a fair amount of sort of supply in the market. So just a quick comment, if you will.
No, I think I said that earlier. I still maintain that there will be, as the markets get formed, there will still be constrained supply, to begin with, and it's not going to ease out very soon. It will still take a couple of years, and also these are very complex products. Not everyone who have filed the product is going to get approved. So it's still going to be a restricted play, both from the supply, and the companies who get approved, and the companies which can really supply the market and the actual demand. So I think what we have said is going to stay put at least for the next couple of years.
Neeraj, it's a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you very much for your time. Kunal, really appreciate your time here on CNBC TV18 as well.